welcome students. How are you all? I'm your chemistry teacher, and today is a class about revision of some important topics of chapter 9 and 10, acid, base, and salts, and some are related to chemical energetics. Now, first one we having topic we having the physical properties of a acid. Before going to detail of a chapter or the topic, we must know what is acid. Acids are those substances which produce H plus ion in the aqueous solution are known as acid. There are different types of acid, organic and inorganic acids. One are natural and one are the synthetic, which are prepared in the laboratory. So, names of the different types of acids are hydrochloric acid, sulfuric acid. So, these all are examples. We are talking about the physical properties of acids. Acids having a sour taste. We know that acid, Greek word and derived from acidus. Acidus means sour taste. So this is the first property. And second, we having a colorless phenolphthalein remain colorless in acids. Phenolphthalein is a indicator. What is an indicator? Those substances which indicate the reaction means if we are having the reaction between acid and base, so we can identify the reaction with the help of our indicator. So indicator help us to identify our reaction is completed or not completed. Or in other words, we can say a substance that change the color when they are added to acidic or basic medium. So there are different type of indicator. One of them is a phenolphthalein, other we having methyl orange, and we having litmus paper and so on. In methyl orange, when it show the color red to, it's mean it's a acidic medium, and when in yellow it's mean it's a basic medium. uh, so and we having a phenolphthalein is a colorless substance. When it is added into acidic, it show a colorless, and when it show a pink or slightly red color, it show a basic. So the and litmus paper, it's a piece of a paper which is also help to identify the solution either acidic or a basic. So colorless phenolphthalein remain colorless in acids. Third physical property, they change the color of a methyl orange and a blue litmus to a red. Mean methyl orange is also change of a color, mean its change will become a red, showing that the solution is acidic. And litmus paper change from blue to red. Acids are electrolytes. Electrolytes mean they are able to conduct the electricity in a molten or a aqueous solution form. So they are aqueous solution conduct electricity. So we all know that all acid bases are electrolytes. Number 5 point, concentrated acid destroy fabric, skin, and human tissues, etc. Mean if acid in a concentrate, what is actually concentration? Mean when the pure acid, mean you have a little quantity of our water, so it will be a concentrate. If we have a lot of water is present in a acid or base, so its solution will become a dilute. So concentrated acids destroy our skin, fabric, and human tissue. So all these are reasons why this concentrated acid damage skin, because it's in pure form. In human stomach, 0.4% of our gastric juice contain HCl for proper digestion. For proper digestion, in our stomach, 0.4% gastric juice is present. So this HCl is a very important. It helps in a proper digestion. If more acid is present in stomach, it may cause acidity. So only 0.4% gastric juice contain HCl. This is for a proper or a normal digestion. Next, we having chemical properties of a acid. Acid react with bases, metals, non-metals, metal carbonates, or bicarbonates. Some of the chemical properties are given below. Now, first chemical property is a neutralization. So, what is a neutralization, students? Acid reacts with bases. Mean acids are reacting with a base to form salt and water. This is called neutralization. Mean acid react with the base and it forms salt and water. This is called neutralization. So we having a HCl. HCl is an acid. It reacting with the base NaOH. So HCl reacting with the NaOH base, acid react with the base. It will form salt and water. It will form what? It will form salt and water. NaCl is a ionic compound or a salt and in water. So first property, chemical properties are neutralization. Second, we having reaction with metals. Okay, dilute acid. Dilute mean it having a large quantity of a water, so it become a dilute. And concentrated mean it having more acid as compared to water. React with the certain metals such as zinc, magnesium, and iron. These are the some examples of metals to produce hydrogen gas. And whenever acid is a dilute, reacting with the metals like zinc, magnesium, and iron, it will produce hydrogen gas. It will produce hydrogen gas. So when dilute hydrochloric acid react with the zinc metal, produce hydrogen gas. So this is a zinc metal reacting with the acid HCl. So 1 mole of a zinc reacting with a 2 mole of HCl, it will form zinc chloride. This is a salt. 1 mole of a zinc chloride form and 1 mole of a hydrogen gas will be formed. So whenever dilute acid react with a metal, either zinc, magnesium, iron, copper, and so on, it always will produce gas, and it will produce a salt according to our acid or a metal. So this is a second chemical property of a acid. Now we having third property, reaction with carbonates and bicarbonates. Uh, Acid react with carbonates and bicarbonate salts to produce carbon dioxide gas. Mean whenever acid react with carbonates and bicarbonate, it produce carbon dioxide, water, and their respective salt. So carbonates, this is a sodium carbonate which contains CO3. This is called carbonate, and which containing HCO3 are known as bicarbonates. So carbonates react with the acid. This is HCl. This is a sodium carbonate, Na2CO3 reacting with the HCl, that is a acid, and it will form NaCl and water and a carbon dioxide. Mean 1 mole of a sodium carbonate reacting 2 moles of a HCl, it will produce 2 mole of a NaCl plus 1 mole of a water and 1 mole of a carbon dioxide. Now second example of a so bicarbonate, we have taken the sodium bicarbonate. NaHCO3 is a sodium bicarbonate reacting with the HCl, form of sodium chloride, water, and carbon. But here 1 mole of a sodium bicarbonate reacting with a 1 mole of a HCl, and it will form NaCl, 1 mole of a NaCl, and form water, 1 mole of a water, and 1 mole of a carbon dioxide. Next, we are having reaction with oxides and hydroxides of metals. Okay, metal oxide and hydroxide react with acids to form salt and water, like neutralization. Neutralization, what is a neutralization? Acid react with base, it forms salt and water, known as a neutralization. So metal oxide means metal reacting with the oxygen, it will form a metal oxide. One of the example is the iron oxide is a metal oxide, and it react with the acid the H2SO4 sulfuric acid, form a iron sulfate FeSO4 and produce a water. So what 1 mole of iron oxide reacting with 1 mole of a sulfuric acid, it will form 1 mole of a FeSO4 iron sulfide, and 1 mole of water. Next we having uh, we are talking about hydroxide, iron hydroxide FeOH3. Uh, it react with the 3HCl. It will form ferrous chloride, and form a water. Mean FeOH3 having a 1 mole reacting with the 3 mole of HCl. It will produce 1 mole of FeCl through 3 and 3 moles of water. So third property is a reaction with the carbonates and bicarbonates, and fourth property is a reaction with oxides and hydroxides of metals. Now next we having physical properties of a bases. Now, bases have bitter taste and have a slippery or soapy touch. Whenever we touch the base, any basic solution, so we feel our hand slippery. For example, we having a detergent. You dissolve a detergent in a water, so after dissolving detergent in a water, feel your hand slippery. So one of the basic property of a base is they are soapy in touch or slippery in a touch, and taste is very bitter. So second property, they turn red litmus paper blue. Mean litmus paper is a indicator. So litmus blue litmus, there are two types of a litmus paper color, one red and blue. So when we dip the red litmus paper into a basic solution, red litmus turn into a blue. It will show that our solution is a basic in nature. Then they turn colorless phenolphthalein into red or pink. Mean and another indicator phenolphthalein is it is a colorless solution, but it change into red or slightly red or a pink in color. It's mean the solution is basic in nature. Next property, they change the color of a methyl orange to a yellow. Mean methyl orange color having a orange color, it's changed into a yellow. It's showing again the basic in nature's solution. Next, we having property bases are electrolytes. They conduct electricity in a solution or a aqueous molten form. So we know that all bases, salts, and acids are electrolytes because they are able to conduct electricity in aqueous or molten form. Concentrated bases destroy fabric, skin, and tissues. Again, here term the concentrated pure form of a basis destroy fabrics, any fabric, skin, and tissues, etc. One term we having water soluble bases are also called alkali. Mean those bases which are soluble in water are known as alkali. We having example NaOH and KOH, sodium hydroxide and potassium hydroxide. So here we can differentiate between acid and bases on the basis of their physical property. First property basis is a bitter taste, whereas acid having a sour taste. Red litmus change to blue, and in acids, blue change into a red. The phenolphthalein colorless to a red or pink, but in acid it remain a colorless. And methyl orange is changed to a yellow, but in acid it become a red. But both are the electrolyte. This is a similarity. Both are the electrolyte, and this is again similarity. Concentrative bases destroy fabric, skin, and tissue. So these are the physical properties of bases. Next, we having a chemical properties of a basis. Bases react with the acids to form a salt and water. This is a process of neutralization. The reaction is called neutralization reaction. As both acid and base cancel out each other's properties, mean acid cancel out or completely finish the basic property, and a base completely neutralize the acidic property. In this base, salt and water will form. Common example we having any common example we having the NaCl formation. In sodium hydroxide reacting with the HCl, it forms sodium chloride and water. But here we are talking an other example, that is a calcium hydroxide reacting with a HCl form a calcium chloride plus water. Uh, Calcium hydroxide having a 1 mole, and HCl having a sodium hydrochloric acid having a 2 moles, and they will form calcium chloride 1 mole and 1 mole of a water. So this is the process of a neutralization. Then bases liberates ammonia. Bases liberate ammonia when warmed with the ammonium salt. So whenever bases react with the ammonium salt and condition warming the solution, the ammonia gas will be formed. Okay, in the form of equation, ammonium chloride NH4Cl reacting with the NaOH. So ammonium chloride, some ammonium chloride reacting with the sodium hydroxide. Ammonium chloride a salt, ammonium salt, and NaOH is a base, sodium hydroxide reacting together. It will form sodium chloride salt, water, and ammonia gas. So 1 mole of ammonium chloride reacting with the 1 mole of a sodium hydroxide, it will form 1 mole of a NaCl, 1 mole of a water, and 1 mole of a ammonia. So, next property, bases dissolve certain metals, metal like tin, zinc, and aluminum, etc., and non-metals like silicon. But the reaction is slow at a room temperature. So in the form of equation, aluminum, Al is aluminum reacting with a base, sodium hydroxide reacting with the water. So it will form sodium aluminate, NaAlO2, and hydrogen gas. So 2 moles of aluminum reacting 2 moles of sodium hydroxide, it will form 2 moles of water. and it will form 2 moles of sodium aluminate and release the hydrogen gas. It's 3 moles. Whenever it react with the non-metals like we having a silicon Si reacting with the sodium hydroxide base, but this reaction occur in the presence of a water, it will form sodium silicate Na2SiO3 and release the hydrogen gas. 1 mole of a silicon, 2 moles of a sodium hydroxide, 1 mole of a water reacting together, it will form 1 mole of a sodium silicate and 2 moles of a hydrogen gas. Bases dissolve either or react with metals or non-metals. So it first dissolve in a water, then reaction will start. But this reaction slow, very very slow at a room temperature. But if we'll increase the temperature, reaction will completely fast. Okay, or it complete in a fast, or it will come, the product will form as compared to a room temperature earlier. So this is a, three chemical properties of our bases. One is the neutralization, second reaction with the ammonium salt, third with the metal and non-metal. Next we having chemical properties. Bases precipitate hydroxide of a heavy metals from their salt solution. Means bases reacting with the salt solution, salt in a form of a solution, it will precipitate, precipitate insoluble particles are left. Means what is the precipitates? Precipitates are insoluble solid particles. So bases precipitate hydroxide of a heavy metals from their salt solution. For example, we having a salt solution of a FeCl through iron chloride, having a base NaOH dissolved in a water H2O. It will form, what they will form? It will form iron hydroxide FeOH3 and NaCl sodium chloride. So 1 mole of a ferric chloride, 3 moles of a sodium hydroxide and 2 mole of a water reacting together, it will form 1 mole of a FeOH3 and 3 moles of a NaCl. So this is another chemical property of a base. Now next we having bases react with fats to form a soap. This is another chemical property of a bases. So bases mostly react with the fats, animal fats. So it sometimes maybe a fats from any source, but major sources are animals. So it will form a soap. So there are different types of soap, either bathing soap or dishwashing soap. So all soaps are formed from the animal fats. So this is all about the chemical properties of a basis. Next topic we having a thermochemical reaction. Thermochemical reaction is a combination of a two word therm and chemical. So therm mean heat and chemical reaction mean a reaction which is carried out in which reacting together new substances form with the chemical chain. So simply it is called as a chemical reaction. So it is in proper form we can define as the chemical reaction during which material changes are accompanied with the changes in a heat energy are called thermochemical. Mean the chemical reaction occur in which material changes occur. Material changes occur. I mean, actually, what is the material change? Mean reactants are reacting together and they form a new thing that is a product. And the changes in heat energy means reaction. Sometimes reaction need energy, and sometimes in chemical reaction energies are evolved out or the pass out. So the energy, I mean, in the form of a heat is taken in or taken out, they are called a thermochemical reaction. So thermochemical reaction are of two types. Thermochemical reaction divided into two categories: exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. So thermochemical reaction is a combination of a two words, means a chemical reaction which take place in the presence of heat. Either heat is taken in or taken out. So this is called thermochemical reaction, and thermochemical reaction are further divided into exothermic reaction and endothermic reaction. Next we having First, we having a exothermic reaction. Exothermic reaction is a type of a thermochemical reaction. It is a combination of a two Greek word, exo and therm. Exo mean out or to evolve, and therm mean heat. So it is a Greek word and composed of exo Exo means out or to evolve, and therm mean heat. So exotherm mean uh, heat is pass out, or it's move from the system to surrounding. And what is actually proper definition of a exothermic? The chemical change during which heat is given out or are released. The chemical change during which heat is given out or released. Mean chemical change mean chemical reaction is occurring, and in a chemical reaction heat is either is a given out or released. So we are talking about again and again heat. So heat, what is actually heat? Heat is a form of energy which is transferred from one body to other due to the difference in temperature. So it is a form of energy, and so the chemical change during which heat is given out or released is called exothermic reaction. The change of heat is represented by delta H. This is a sign of a delta. So delta H mean delta is a Greek word and it's mean change in a property, and it is shown by a negative sign. It is shown with the help of a negative sign. Mean whenever delta H value is placed and negative sign is present, it's mean this reaction is a exothermic reaction. Next, some example of exothermic reactions. All type of a burning, there are exothermic reaction. For example, this is a matchstick burning, and all different types of burnings are related to a exothermic reactions. This is a salt, either white salt or this is a black salt. All are examples of exothermic reaction. Water is taking, if you're having a different sources of a salt, either from a salt range or either salt from a seawater. So example of exothermic reaction, and a real life example, self-heating drink cans. Mean in winter days, there is a self-heating drink cans which help to warm up our body. So exothermic reaction can be used for everyday purposes. For example, hand warmers and self-heating cans for drinks such as coffee use exothermic reaction. So coffee is one of the a drink that help us to warm up our body in a form of exothermic reaction. And another example, look at here, the evaporation. Evaporation is an example of exothermic reaction, raising water vapor from a sea. Okay, this is a exothermic reaction. Next, we having why containers become hot during exothermic reaction. In exothermic reaction, heat flows from the system to the surrounding and the container become a hot. This is only possible when total energy of the reactant is a greater than total energy of a product. The difference in the energies is the heat supplied by the system to the surroundings. Mean exothermic reaction occur, heat flows from the system to surrounding. System mean where the reaction is taking place, mean either vessel or the container. Or we can take the example, so for example, in a beaker, maybe a conical flask, to a surrounding mean outside the system or outside of your apparatus or the vessel. So the container become hot. Why container become hot? Heat flows out, mean heat is passing out. This is only possible when total energy of the reactant is greater, mean when the reaction start, energy of a reactant as more as compared to a product. Why reactant having a more? Because the energy is passed out from the system in the form of a heat, so to the surrounding. That's why. So the answer, the difference in the energies is heat supplied by the system to the surrounding. This is the reason why the container become hot during a exothermic. Next, we have example number one, the combustion of a coal in a air example of a exothermic reaction. 393.7 kilojoules of a heat energy is released when 1 mole of a coal is burned with a 1 mole of oxygen to produce 1 mole of a carbon dioxide. Mean combustion, what is a combustion? Mean a reaction of a oxygen, burning of oxygen with here we are talking about the carbon, that's the combustion of a coal. So this is a coal symbol or the carbon symbol. So, and this is oxygen, 1 mole of a carbon, 1 mole of a oxygen reacting together. It will form 1 mole of a carbon dioxide and it will release the delta H value minus 393.7 kilojoule moles energy. So combustion of a coal in air will release the 393.7 kilojoule mole energy. So this is the first example. Second, we having burning of a methane in the presence of a oxygen. Methane is a organic compound and its formula is a CH4. Burning of a methane in the presence of oxygen, when 1 mole of a methane is burned in 2 moles of oxygen, then 1 mole of a carbon dioxide and 2 moles of a water are formed. During reaction, 890 kilojoules per mole of a heat energy is released. So this is a reaction. uh, Methane CH4, oxygen O2, they are reacting together. It will form a carbon dioxide, and 1 mole of a methane and 2 mole of oxygen are reacting together. It will form 1 mole of a carbon dioxide and 2 moles of a water, and release the energy, that is the delta H is equal to minus 890 kilojoules per mole energy. So this is a second example. Now third, we having the formation of a water from a water, hydrogen and oxygen. 286 kilojoules per mole of a heat energy is released when 1 mole of a hydrogen react with the half moles of a oxygen to produce 1 mole of a water. Uh, H2 hydrogen, 1 mole of a hydrogen plus half mole of a oxygen reacting together, it will form a water H2O, and H2O is the having the 1 mole, and they will release the delta H value is a minus 286 kilojoule mole. Mean formation of a water from the combination of a hydrogen and oxygen will release the minus 286 kilojoule moles energy. So this amount of energy will always release whenever water formed from the combination of a hydrogen and oxygen. Now next we having endothermic reaction. It's again a combination of two words, Greek words. It is a Greek word and composed of a endo means into or to absorb, and therm mean heat. So it's mean that it give the hints the reaction which energy is absorbed in the form of a heat. Now, proper definition, it is a chemical chain during which heat is absorbed or taken in. Mean chemical reaction occur in which reacting react together and product is formed, and in which heat energy is required to complete the reaction. Otherwise, reaction will be not complete. So the change of heat energy is represented by delta H, and I have already told you delta mean it's a Greek word and it's a mean a change in property delta. Delta is a change. So sign of a delta H is a positive. H positive mean absorb heat. Mean in endothermic reaction, heat energy is absorbed or taken in, or they need the energy to complete the chemical reaction. Otherwise, reaction will be very slow. So next we having some examples of endothermic reaction related to our daily life. Endothermic reactions feel cold because they absorb heat from environment. Dissolving salt in a water is a endothermic reaction. Evaporation means water, and cooking an egg, baking bread, photosynthesis. So these all are related to the endothermic reaction. Now next we having why containers become cold during the endothermic reaction. We know that in exothermic reaction, container become hot. During the endothermic reaction, heat is absorbed or from a surrounding. It's mean heat flow from the surrounding to the system and container become cold. This is because of the total energy of the product is greater than the total energy of the reactant. Here the difference in the energies is the heat supply to the system by the surrounding. So during the endothermic reaction, heat is taken in or absorbed from a surrounding. Surrounding mean outside the apparatus or the vessel. It's mean heat flow from a surrounding to a system. Mean from a outside the vessel we need the inside the system. We need a heat energy. Heat energy in the form of a either we are taking in from a fire, or maybe we are from a stove or burner. It will the apparatus become a cold after completion of a reaction, but the total energy of a product is greater than the total energy of reactant, because During the reaction, the energy is taken from the surrounding. So at the end of the reaction, this energy will taken and as a part of a product. So difference in energy, the heat energy is supplied system by a surrounding. So this is the reason. Now we have example number 1. The decomposition of water into a hydrogen and oxygen is example of a endothermic reaction. During decomposition of a 1 mole of a water to 1 mole of a hydrogen, half mole of a oxygen, 286 kilojoules per mole of a heat energy is released. So H2O is a decomposition of water, or we can say electrolysis of a water in which 1 mole of a water is decomposed into a 1 mole of a hydrogen gas and plus half mole of oxygen, but if they need the energy, that is a delta H is equal to plus 286 kilojoule mole. Now contrast with the endothermic reaction and with exothermic reaction, here water is decomposed, and in that type reaction, water and oxygen are combining and they are forming the water. In that case, they release the 280 minus 286 kilojoule mole, but here it need the plus 286 kilojoule mole energy. Now next example we having 1 mole of a nitric oxide NO is a formed by the combination of a half mole of a nitrogen and half mole of a oxygen. This is the example of a endothermic reaction, and the heat absorbed is about 90.25 kilojoules per mole. It means half moles of a nitrogen plus half mole of oxygen are reacting together form a 1 mole of a nitric oxide NO, but they need the energy delta H is equal to plus 90.25 kilojoules per mole. Mean formation of a nitric oxide NO need plus 90.25 kilojoule mole energy. Mean half mole of a N2 and half mole of oxygen reacting form 1 mole of a nitric oxide, but energy is needed plus 90.25 kilojoule mole. So combination of a nitrogen and oxygen requires energy and they will form a nitric oxide. This is a second example. Now next we are having a differences between exothermic and endothermic reaction. So exothermic reaction, it is a Greek word and composed of a exo mean out or evolve and therm mean heat. So it's a combination of our two word and exo and endo. Exo mean out or evolve or therm mean heat. And endothermic reaction, it's a Greek word and composed of a endo mean into or absorb and therm mean heat. So they absorb the heat energy and so complete the reaction. The next difference, the chemical change during which heat is given out or are released. Mean chemical reaction occur in which chemical change occur and heat is given out or the released to the system to surrounding, and whereas in this it is a chemical chain during which heat is absorbed or are taken out. In simple words, we can say endothermic type of a reaction need the heat energy from a surrounding to a system. So that's why reaction will be completed. Otherwise reaction will be slowed down. Next we having the change of heat is represented by delta H, and delta H is a delta. This triangle is showing the delta and delta the change in property, and it's a Greek word and it is shown by a negative sign. Okay, and delta H is equal to evolve heat, mean they are passing out the heat, they're releasing the heat. So negative sign is shown in a what exothermic reaction. Whereas in endothermic reaction, the change of heat energy is represented by delta H and sign of H is a positive. So positive H is equal to absorb heat. Absorb heat means they need the heat energy to complete the chemical reaction. Now next we are having some examples that are related to the exothermic reaction as well as to the endothermic reaction. Okay, here we are discussing reaction of a sodium Na with the water. means sodium and water are reacting together, we form sodium oxide and releasing hydrogen gas. So this is an example of exothermic reaction. It means this reaction will release the heat energy. Second, we having burning of a methane. Methane is organic compound. This is a CH4 is formula, and it is burning with the oxygen. It will produce a carbon dioxide in water, and this is an example of exothermic reaction. And we have discussed detail in explanation of a exothermic reaction. Then having a match burn, and you know any type of a burning related to a exothermic reaction. Mean any type of a reaction in which heat energies are released are come under the heading the exothermic reaction. And we have many more examples like a neutralization. What is a neutralization? It's a reaction between acid and base. And combustion or combustion reaction, respiration in a body cell is an example of a this. And endothermic reaction example, the decomposition of a mercuric oxide, mean mercuric oxide HGO is decomposed into mercury and oxygen, is example of endothermic reaction. It means they need the heat energy to complete. Electrolysis of water H2O mean electrolysis or decomposition of water into hydrogen and oxygen gases is also needed heat energy to complete a reaction. Decomposition of potassium chloride KClO3 is also example of endothermic. Beside this, we having a photosynthesis, cooking, polymerization, thermal decomposition, evaporation of water, melting, boiling. These all baking a bread, all are endothermic reaction. But here I want to discuss one more difference between exothermic and endothermic reaction. In exothermic reaction, change occur when chemical bond are formed. Mean exothermic reaction occur when the chemical bond are formed. Whereas in endothermic, change occur when a chemical bonds are broken. So these are the some examples of the exothermic and endothermic reaction. Now we having exothermic and endothermic more clarification with help of a diagram. Okay. This is exothermic reaction. This is a system and surrounding, but it is a system where the reaction take place, and surrounding means outside the system or outside the your vessel or apparatus. Here again, this is a system where the reaction is taking place. This is a surrounding. Okay. So in the system, reactions are taking place. Okay, and from the system to a surrounding during the exothermic reaction, heat energy is released. So that's why the apparatus, we feel the apparatus hot. In endothermic reaction, here system need the heat energy from the surrounding. From the surrounding, uh, system need a heat energy or the chemical reaction heat energy from the surrounding. Are there enough from a burner, from any fire, I mean though the burner that help to warm up the system and reaction will be completed. That's why this apparatus become cold outside. Okay, so this is a diagrammatic explanation or differentiate between exothermic and endothermic reaction. Now this is all about today's lecture. I hope all of you have understand all the point I have discussed. So thank you and Allah Hafiz.